This is Seth with the Gazette. Two questions. One, and maybe I'm just I'm kind of unclear on where the 65 and up population falls in all of this. Now that kind of teachers and child care workers are kind of bumping up. So can you clarify when the 65 and up, where their rough time when they'll be included? And then second, this might be better for Dr. Hurley, but just, does the state have the capacity and ability to really properly gauge how widespread the variant is here now? Do we have proper handling on it, or do we need to ramp up to that? Thank you.
Thank you. So we've indicated that we will be adopting the CDC guidance of 65 and up. We hope to have the date for that later this week. Doesn't mean that 65 and up starts later this week. We need a little bit more information on supply. Of course, it does not make sense to divert a dose from a 78-year-old to a 66-year-old, but we feel that we will have made sufficient progress on people 70 and up soon, and we'll have that date that we'll be able to expand the availability to people age 65 and up shortly. I think, sorry, Dr. Hurley had an answer on that.
There is a second question about statewide detection of the variant, if we have the ability to understand how widespread it might be. So in the last couple of weeks, we have stood up a system across the state to receive specimens at our state lab and do whole genome sequencing on those specimens to have a sense of how common the B117 variant and other variants in the state might be. So at this point, we have identified 10, and we'll continue to do that testing at our lab. We're looking at trying to do about 100 to 200 specimens per week, and again, those are specimens that are coming from across the state.
And it's very important to see that denominator, because just knowing how many if you found 10 and you only tested 10, then oh my God, you got the variant all over. But they are finding just 1 or 2 out of 100. So it is not the widespread variant. We are doing enough testing to know that it is a small minority of cases right now. But of course, what we've seen in the UK and other places is because of the transmissibility that could increase. But right now, it is a very minor factor.
Can you explain a little bit more about the variant, because it's already here, right? So doesn't it suggest that all of the modeling should assume that the variant is going to spread rapidly? Do you see any situation in which the variant does not become the most popular version of the disease or widespread version of the disease in Colorado, and how would that not happen?
Thanks. It's a great question, and I think a question that I think we are still trying to answer. So I think one thing that we have going for us right now is that we have a downward trajectory in cases. So we are seeing the number of cases in the state decrease, and if we can continue to have this effective reproductive number, this R value below 1 in the state, that means our epidemic can shrink, and that's really what puts us in the best place to limit transmission of this variant. It obviously prevents hospitalizations and deaths from occurring, but really I think we're in a good place right now. We just need to keep up the strategies we have to really continue to minimize disease transmission.
And let me put it another way. The same methods work to prevent the spread of every variant. They just might not be as effective as they were with the original virus. So these are hypothetical numbers, but if a mass is 60% effective against the virus, it might be 40% against the variant. So the same methods work: social distancing, mask wearing, avoiding social gatherings. It's just none of these methods are quite as effective against a virus that is more transmissible.
Hi, Governor. This is Patty with the Associated Press. I want to go back to the federal shipment of vaccine. You mentioned repurposing second doses as first doses, and that you're confident that those scheduled for second doses will keep their appointments. But if there's a continued shortage, can you kind of go into if the vaccine plan would change, or if you're going to cancel mass vaccination sites, kind of what would be the decision then?
Yeah, no, everybody who got the first dose should be able to get the second dose. If there is reduced flow of doses in those weeks, what will happen is some of those doses that were going to be designated as first doses to new people might have to backfill second doses. But there is no change in that we're following guidance on 2 doses. And by moving to real-time supply management, we're confident, frankly, that supplies or vaccines they're not going to get worse. I mean, we're getting the 70 to 80,000 a week. I just don't know exactly how much better they're going to get. I don't know if we're going to have 150,000 a week in 2 weeks or it's still going to be 70 to 80. But there's no indication whatsoever from any of our federal partners that the number will drop below what it is currently. So I'm confident that at least the current levels of supply will be maintained.
One more question.
From all my conversations. And of course, we hope for additional doses. So there's really no concern about that. I think it makes sense to go to real-time management. It led to a surge of 40,000 doses in this last week for first doses. Additional surge this week while moving to real-time supply management with Walgreens and CVS, our two partners under the federal contract.
Chris Vanderveen from 9 News. I want to switch gears just really quickly and talk about some unemployment issues. We've been hearing from a lot of people simply have been unable to get unemployment benefits or haven't received their benefits because of suspected fraud. There's been a lot of hold cases. Do you know how widespread unemployment insurance fraud is right now in the state? And do you believe that the state is really striking that proper balance between catching fraud and then putting benefits on hold to try to catch that fraud? We're hearing from a lot of people that are waiting and they're not getting good answers and they're definite.
Yeah. So first of all, people should know that you are held harmless from fraud on your account. You will get what you deserve. I know that that's little consolation if you're dealing with fraud or your benefits are delayed. But you will get what you've earned under that. This is a very good question, and we should pass along to Joe Barella, our head of Department of Labor. I've had several conversations with him. First of all, we did launch the new UI system just in the last week or two, much of it going online now. We feel that through the security of that system, that alone will inherently reduce fraud. This has been a big national problem in terms of fraudulent use of unemployment claims, probably aligned